welcome to 2 Minutes and Beyond, the podcast where we review the Toy Story movies 2 minutes at a time. I'm Bianca and this is Macy.
Hello.
Hi there. In this episode, we're talking about minutes 33 and 34 of Toy Story.
I'm so excited.
I'm super excited. This, I want to say, out of all the clips that I've already said are my favorite, this is my most favorite.
You know, I'm also nervous to talk about this scene, though, because it's so iconic. And I'm like, I want to do it justice.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, I'm like, I think we'll be okay, though.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite, and I'm glad that I'm getting to do the narration because I absolutely love Woody just going absolutely berserk.
Losing his mind.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm excited. So are you ready to start?
I am.
Okay, let's get into this. These 2 minutes start off with Buzz talking into his risk communicator saying, "Buzz Lightyear mission log. The local sheriff and I seem to be at a huge refueling station of some sort." Woody gets angry when he hears him. He turns around and says, "You!" and starts to go after Buzz and fight him again, but is interrupted by the sound of a loud horn. A semi-truck pulls into the gas station. Buzz jumps out of the way and Woody freezes and drops to the ground. One of the truck's wheels rolls right up to Woody and nearly crushes him before stopping just in time.
So I noticed the little shaking noise Woody makes when he gets mad.
His little plasticky sound.
Yes, it's the same shaking noise that we talked about earlier when he gets mad when Buzz is fixing his ship, I think.
Yeah, he's making, like, I want to say, is it when he's underneath the ship and he's asking for the bonding strip?
Yeah, right before, I think right before Bo comes to talk to Woody.
Something. I don't remember.
I remember
you would
we talked about it because we were like, what is that sound coming from?
Yes.
I mean,
you
it's
would
Woody,
think we'd
but
remember.
How is he making that sound?
I think maybe I've always thought it was like his fingers like rubbing against the other plastic part. But I don't know, because you know how when you squeeze two pieces of plastic together, they kind of rub a little bit and they make like a squeaky sound.
Yeah, but it's like a rattling noise.
It is
it's
like
weird.
A rattling noise. It's very unsettling.
It sounds almost like teeth chattering.
A little bit, yes.
Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe his teeth are chattering because he's so angry.
I don't know. He's a toy of many sounds.
Especially in this movie. The sound effects in this movie are a lot of times like over the top and cartoony.
They're very 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I like about the movie, though, that it's so 1990s that it's got like all of the, I guess, qualities that you'd find in like 90s cartoons and shows back then. I don't know. Gives off a vibe.
I'm also like, Woody, frankly, Woody is an idiot because he goes back. He's just been thoroughly beat up by Buzz. Like,
and yet he
now
goes
he's
back.
going back. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. What are you accomplishing? You're not going to win this time. I mean, you just got beat up. So.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully the truck shows up.
Oh gosh, I know. And then I think about it like, does the truck driver see these two toys? Does the truck driver know what's happened? Does he think they're raccoons? I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. And then too, Woody freezes and drops, and I'm like, you don't need to do that. Buzz is smart and he jumps out of the way, and Woody just drops in the middle of the ground and almost gets run over by the truck.
I know. It's like his defense mechanism where he's like, oh, I gotta be a toy. But it's like, That almost killed you.
And, like, especially by the time he's, like, under the truck and the tire is right there, I'm like, "Nobody's gonna see you could just move."
Exactly. By the time anybody realizes that they're toys, he could have hid or he could have done like Buzz. He could have just run.
And 2, I mean, Buzz usually freezes when all the other toys do, so why didn't he freeze here?
Exactly. Maybe because it was more like a survival instinct and he's like, oh, don't want to get crushed. And Woody's just,
Woody apparently doesn't have the same instincts.
Buzz had the brain cell at that time.
They share the brain cell. Buzz happened to have it.
He had the whole brain cell at that moment.
Do people outside of Tumblr say that? I have no idea.
I don't think so. I've never experienced it outside of Tumblr, and when I see it on like
Maybe
Twitter,
Twitter?
I think Twitter would be the only other place, but that's because everybody from Tumblr moved to Twitter.
Mhm.
So that's probably why. But like whenever I'm on Facebook, I never see it on Facebook. I never see it on Instagram. So I think it's
Yeah.
just a Tumblr thing.
Oh, I was wondering about the truck license plates and if they're a reference to anything, and I don't think they are, I don't know, but I was watching this clip last night, with my dad because I had it screen mirrored onto the TV in the
Oh,
living
okay.
room,
Uh-huh.
and he pointed out that, um, both of the license plate numbers have 2 letters, 2 numbers, and then the same 2 numbers backwards.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, one of them is EL4994 and the other is DF3443.
Hmm. That's interesting.
I thought maybe those are somebody's initials and then, like, a birthday or something? I have no idea.
Maybe. Or maybe that's like their age, but then reversed.
I don't know.
Or they just thought of those two numbers and they're like, let's just reverse them.
It could be the age and the initials. I also noticed that both of the license plates in the place where they would usually say, like, the name of the state, they
Hmm.
just say truck, which I
I
thought was
never
funny.
noticed that. I've noticed like the license plate, but I never thought to look at the state. That's funny.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until I was looking at it on, Disney Plus
Oh my
in the better
gosh.
quality version.
Yeah. No, that's pretty great. I like that.
I feel like that shot of Woody where his face is still frozen and it's, like, pressed starting to be pressed up against the tire.
Hmm.
If that's not a meme, it should be.
It's like you and like your stress at work or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make that and put that on our Twitter.
Please do, because I will use the heck out of that.
I was trying to think if I've ever seen that because that seems like such an obvious meme to me. I'll have to
Exactly.
check and make sure nobody's done that before.
Or it's like the world and the pandemic.
Like 2019, 2020.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's a really good meme. I think you should make it.
I will if nobody else has done it before, then I will do it.
Please do. So, anyways, moving on. At the 22-second mark, horrified by his near death experience, Woody crawls backwards away from the truck's wheel and nearly backs into Buzz, who is saying something about his navicomputer. Woody cuts him off and tells him to shut up. Just shut up, you idiot. Buzz closes his wrist communicator and says, Sheriff, this is no time to panic. Woody responds, This is the perfect time to panic. I'm lost, Andy is gone. They're going to move from their house in 2 days, and it's all your fault. Buzz starts to yell and then realizes he could be heard and loudly whispers, My fault? If you hadn't pushed me out of the window in the first place, Woody cuts him off again. Oh, yeah, well, if you hadn't shown up in your stupid little cardboard spaceship and taken away everything that was important to me, Buzz says, don't talk to me about importance. Because of you, the security of this entire universe is in jeopardy. Woody is completely taken aback and confused by this statement and yells, What? What are you talking about? Can you tell I'm really enjoying this?
Tom Hanks is so good.
He's my absolute favorite. I don't care what people say. Tom Hanks is my favorite actor.
He is just so funny, this entire thing, and the writing in this is so funny. I want to know who specifically came up with a lot of these lines.
Exactly. The whole dialogue in this section alone, in these 2 minutes, is like some of the greatest writing in the whole movie.
I feel like I would go as far as to say this is one of the greatest scenes in certainly animated movie history, if not just film history in general.
Oh, yes, for sure. It's such an iconic scene that, of course, every 90s kid is going to know, and every 90s kid is going to love and quote because it's such a quotable scene.
I mean, there's so many lines in this scene that I feel like I quote a lot or that just like pop into my head like this is no time to panic. This is the perfect time to panic.
That is my favorite. Whenever someone says that, that always pops in my head too. I'm like, this is the perfect time to panic.
I saw one time a pair of like Toy Story t-shirts on Etsy or something where one of the shirts had like Buzz on it and it said, Sheriff, this is no time to panic. And then the other shirts had Woody and said, this is the perfect time to panic.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it was a couple's t-shirt set.
We should get the couple's t-shirt set and wear it to Disney.
We should.
I feel like a bunch of people would appreciate that we did that.
I'll have to see if I can find it.
That's great.
And if we do, we can take a picture of it and put it on our social media.
Yes, we need to do this for the fans.
And wear it to Toy Story Land.
Yes, we need to do this.
Also, the way he says, What? What are you talking about?
All of the emotion that Tom Hanks puts in that one little phrase alone, you can tell that he was like rehearsing this over and over.
He's like, he has heard Buzz say some pretty absurd things, but like the thing Buzz has just told him is the most ridiculous thing he's literally ever heard in his life. And he's just so like, what are you saying right now?
I think also like the shock of him being left by Andy and he's stuck in a gas station. So he's panicking. So then just to hear something dumb like that, he's just like, what are you talking about? Like, shut up.
I noticed too, they kind of like Buzz starts off like he yells and then he realizes, oh wait, I should whisper. And then they kind of like they go back and forth between yelling and whispering. And I'm like, okay, you don't really seem to care actually that much about being heard or not.
They don't. I think also they don't consider that the truck driver got down and he's putting gas in his truck.
Yeah, the truck driver is not paying attention apparently. If
Truck
he's
driver
not
probably
hearing
thinks like lack of sleep. I'm hearing voices. I'm seeing toys on the ground move. Oh gosh, that's man. If I was a truck driver, I would have been hallucinating by that point. I'm like, yeah, sure, there's toys fighting on the ground, whatever.
So Woody's little hand movements when he's saying, "Your little stupid little cardboard spaceship," like he's
I
miming
love how
the shape
animated
of a cardboard
he is.
box.
He's so furious at this point where he's just like spazzing out, and I live for his spaz movements.
You know, I've said before, not on here, but in other places, that I think in some ways Woody and Kermit the Frog have a lot of similarities. And one of those is flailing their arms when they get mad.
Yes. All their spasmodic movements when they're, flustered and frazzled even.
Yeah, and even here in a second when Woody yells, "You are a toy," it reminds me of, it almost reminds me of the scene in The Muppet Show where Kermit fires Piggy. It's like, "You are fired! You are fired, fired!"
Yes, for sure. Oh my gosh. Those two things do have similarities, those two scenes. And I don't know, for me, I just love when characters finally lose it and they go all out and they don't care. They're like, I don't care about my reputation. I don't care about my integrity. I'm angry and I'm just going to let you know right now. That's my favorite. I don't care what people say. I'm like, it's quality content.
That's this entire scene.
Yes, this entire scene is just Woody going ballistic and I'm living for it. I've been living for it since 5. So moving on. At the 56-second mark, Buzz points up to the moon and explains, right now, poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been secretly building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness. He points angrily at Woody and yells, and you, my friend, are responsible for delaying my rendezvous with Starkman. Woody stares at him for a moment before exploding. You are a toy! You are the real Buzz Lightyear. You're an action figure. You are a child's plaything. Buzz looks at him like he's crazy and says, you are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell. Buzz does the Vulcan salute and walks away. Woody yells after him, oh yeah, well, good riddance, you loony. That always made me laugh because I'm like, you were so like passionate that he's just like, good riddance, you loony, like, bye, girl.
That's another one of those lines. That and, "You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity."
That's my favorite. When I was younger, my family, we had crazy dogs, like crazier than the dogs we have right now. And whenever they do something, we just look at them and we're like, you are a sad, strange little man and you have my pity.
And, I never really paid attention to Buzz's face while Woody is yelling, "You are a toy," but the look on his face is like he's horrified. Like, he's like you can tell he's thinking, "This man yelling at me is deranged. Like, what is wrong with him?"
He's looking at him in almost like an awe, like, what is happening right now? What is playing out in front of my face? Why is this man so angry?
I would love to see that part, just that part from Buzz's point of view,
Oh
because
gosh.
Woody's getting, like, right up in his face, like, almost touching his helmet, like, he's right there.
That should be a ride at Disney, but I feel like that would be shut down very fast because a lot of children would be horrified.
Just Woody yelling at you.
Oh my gosh, they put like a little dome on you so that you can have like the full Buzz Lightyear experience.
I was wondering when Buzz goes up and walks up to the stars and, like, looks up at the stars, how can they see the stars that well at night? Like, is light pollution not a thing in this town, or was it just
Honestly,
not as
because
bad in
I
1995?
thought of that too, because there's a lot of stars happening. And I'm like, there's literally a gas station with lights right there. You can't
Pizza
see.
Planet's not that far away either,
Exactly. You can't
and
see stars that nice.
at the I can't remember if it's the end of this clip or the start of the next one, but they show the stars in the sky above Pizza Planet too.
Mm-hmm. That
I was like,
it's not,
"How?"
no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's a very nice shot though. I do like it.
It is really pretty. In fact, I was gonna say the shot where Buzz is talking about, where he's saying, I alone have information that reveals his weapon's only weakness, and that close up on his face where you can see all of the, like, the reflection of the moon and the stars in his helmet.
Hmm.
That's one of my favorite shots in the entire movie because that just looks so cool.
It does look really cool. I do like that shot too. And I'm just like looking at it from an artist's perspective that they were actually able to do that.
Mhm.
Like learning how they're doing all their stuff, but then they are able to do that. The same thing like with the reflections in certain toys where you can see some of the characters reflected off of like a shiny or either object or a toy, and then Buzz's reflection, the stars and the moon on his helmet. And I'm like, man, that's really good for their first movie and then being in 1995.
Yeah, it's really cool. Also, the weapon, Zurg's weapon that Buzz is talking about, I feel like is definitely a Star Wars reference to the Death Star.
I think so too. Like that, I'm like, that is really way too similar to Star Wars.
Like, what is he planning to destroy Alderaan?
I know. I'm like, are you secretly Darth Vader?
Like, I bet the one weakness that it has is what is it? Where the hole in the reactor or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Oh my gosh. They probably were trying to make as many references as they could to that, but trying to make it as vague as possible.
Well, they make even more Star Wars references in the second movie. Oh, and
They
there was the
do.
Darth Vader breathing earlier on too.
Oh yeah. Someone was a Star Wars nerd on the team.
Man, I can't believe a bunch of computer computer animators sci-fi nerds.
I know, right? I'm like, that's way out
A
there, you
bunch of
guys.
computer science guys. He does the Vulcan salute, which is
A Star
another
Trek
sci-fi
reference,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty great. I like that they added all that stuff in there though, because me, when I was younger, I was a lot more into Star Wars. So that was like really cool for me. I was like, oh, that's great. And then, of course, Star Trek. I've always loved Star Trek too. So I'm like, man, these people are cool. I would have loved to have worked with them.
Yeah, I mean, I was never into Star Trek, but I've always been a big Star Wars fan. I mean, I saw these movies before I saw Star Wars.
Hmm.
So, I think I understood when I was little and I hadn't seen Star Wars, I think I understood that they were references because, like, my dad told me,
Yeah.
but I didn't, like, understand them myself.
Fully, yeah, until you actually
Mhm.
watch the movies, that's when you're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And I think I didn't actually connect the 2 until I was a little older, and then I was like, "Oh, I get that, what they're talking about." That's that's the beauty of getting older and understanding things. Especially watching it now in my 30s, I'm like, "I get all the references now. I get every single reference now."
I've actually seen these things that they're referencing.
Yes. Even a lot of like the humor that they put in for the adults, I'm like, "Oh, I finally get that now."
Yeah.
I think that's pretty great.
I really like Woody's face, the look on his face right before he yells at Buzz.
Me too. He just looks so like done with Buzz and he's just in shock at what he's hearing. Like, how much more are you gonna do of this whole spaceman spiel? Like, he's
What is it gonna take to snap you out of this?
I can tell that they had a lot of fun making this too, especially all of the
Mhm.
expressions. I feel like this is probably the animator's favorite scene in the movie too.
Yeah. And kudos to whoever animated Woody in this scene, 'cause
Exactly.
they did an incredible job.
It's phenomenal. I love it. You can't get any better than this. I mean, maybe, but that's pushing it cuz even for the first movie 1995, it's great. I love it. It stands up even to today's humor. It's just funny.
Mhm.
Are we ready to move on?
I am.
Okay, cool. At the 1 minute, 34-second mark, Woody walks off, muttering to himself about Star Command when he notices the Pizza Planet pulling into the gas station, or the Pizza Planet car, rather, pulling into the gas station. He has the idea to ride the truck to Pizza Planet and gets excited to get back to Andy, but realizes he can't go back to Andy's bedroom without Buzz or he'll be in trouble. He yells at Buzz to come back, but Buzz tells him to go away. He yells, "No, Buzz, you gotta come back, and notices the spaceship on top of the delivery truck. "I found a spaceship!" Buzz stops and the clip ends as Buzz is starting to turn around.
Who does the voice of the Pizza Planet truck driver?
I don't know, but I love him to death because he sounds like such a surfer dude.
I tried to look it up, and Google said Bill Hader, but I know that's wrong
That's
because
not
the
Bill
article
Hader.
that it was mentioning that it was getting that answer from was talking about Bill Hader's Carney character in Toy Story 4 who has the Pizza Planet tattoo.
Yeah, no, that's not him. In the first Toy Story, for sure, it's not Bill Hader.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Bill Hader was known at all at this
I
point,
don't think
so
so. If not, he was like barely starting off, but for sure, I don't think
yeah.
they would have chosen him to do that. But I love how he's just like, what does he call him? He calls him like gas guy or like gas man.
Hey, gas
Gas
dude.
dude. And he's like, "Are you talking to me?" He's like, "Yeah."
He almost sounds like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
I know. He
Kinda
honestly,
reminds me of that.
I feel like he's a stoner for sure.
He's a terrible driver.
Obviously, yes. Oh my gosh.
We'll get into that in the next one.
Yes. But for sure, I love this guy, especially in the next scene when he's like, "Could you hurry up? The pizzas are getting cold."
Pizzas are getting cold. I kinda wanna know who does the voice of the gas station attendant. The gas dude.
The gas dude.
I wonder if, because I kinda thought maybe they're just a couple of Pixar guys, but I didn't recognize the voices. I tried to look on Pixar Wiki, and I couldn't find anything.
I feel like
I mean,
they should
I
have
didn't
done
look
it.
around very
Yeah,
much.
they should have shown him at least in the credits, right? Like maybe we could look at the credits to see if there's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
We're gonna have to look and
that would be
see.
one place to look. Maybe we'll just find out when we get to
Get
the
to the very
credits.
end. We're gonna have to just make a note. Who are these guys?
Yeah. So um when Buzz stops and, like, starts to turn around, like, I feel like he hasn't gone as far as he should have, because before it shows him walking away, and then Woody walks away and sees the Pizza Planet truck, and then it cuts back to Buzz, and he's about the same distance away as he was before.
Maybe he was like angry power walking at some point, so he's just like shuffling a little bit faster and then when Woody calls him, he slows down to make it seem like, okay, I'm not that angry about it.
He stopped to look at his wrist communicator,
Maybe. I don't know, but yeah, they do show him kind of like he had been walking for a good while.
and then he's in the same
And then
spot.
he's in the same spot. Yeah, so I'm like,
Almost. I noticed something too that I thought was neat, that at the very end when, after Woody says he found a spaceship, you hear a little bit of the same theme that you hear at the end of the movie when they fly in the
Oh
rocket.
yeah.
Like that da 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 da
I
da,
noticed that
that part.
too. I really like
It's
that they added
musical
that.
foreshadowing. It's like he's pointing at a spaceship, or not the spaceship, but he's
Right.
calling it a spaceship, and then that theme is from when they're flying with a rocket.
Yeah. I did notice that too, and I do like that they added that there. It just like pulls everything together.
It does.
I feel like also if I was Buzz, I would have not even talked to Woody. I would have just kept walking.
I know, I thought about that too. I was like, this guy That's just totally insulted you this whole time. Like, why? I mean, I guess the idea that he had found a spaceship was enticing enough to him.
Right, yeah, I know.
He was like, "Well, I guess this is my best option of fulfilling my mission."
I feel like I would have been more skeptical though, because I would have been like, you were the person that was like, Buzz, look, an alien, like
You were the person that pushed me out the window.
exactly. You tried to murder me in cold blood. You made fun of me this whole time. And now you're saying you have a spaceship. I feel like it's like the whole Charlie Brown trying to kick the football thing. You keep going back, even though you know Lucy's going to pull the football away from you.
Yes. I have a couple things to talk about before we wrap
Ooh,
this
please
up.
do.
I've got a little bit from the audio commentary in which Andrew Stanton said, "This scene under the truck was probably the most hammered sequence from a writing standpoint. We always knew what we wanted. We wanted them to have such strong opinions and anger at each other, but neither of them saw the world the same way. And we feel that now how it is exactly how we want you, the audience, to feel. But it took us so many passes to finally get that across."
Hmm. That's interesting because, like, if you think about it and like storyboarding, like maybe it would have gone like a totally different way, but I'm really glad that they ended up with this particular scene and not like an alternate universe scene.
Hmm. He says they have such strong opinions and anger at each other, but neither of them saw the world the same way, which is part of what I love so much about this scene is that they both just think the other one is like the craziest person they've ever met.
Mhm.
and and they're both just so angry at each other. They've like reached the breaking point. Like they're both equally convinced that they're right.
Yeah.
And they're just like yelling past each other basically.
In other words, if you're not going to see it my way, then we may as well just, go our separate ways.
Good riddance, you loony.
Good riddance, you loony. I'm going to start saying that at work. I probably shouldn't, though. I might get fired.
Also, I wanted to do a little shameless self plug for something I made a couple of years ago.
Ooh.
So, well, I guess it wasn't a couple of years ago. It was like maybe a little over a year ago now. So, in August 2020, there was a big trend on YouTube of people doing recreations of different movie scenes and like TV shows and scenes with the video game Animal Crossing. And I wanted to make one of my own. So I made a version of this scene in the game Animal Crossing. And I think it turned out pretty well, if I do say so myself. I will put a link to it in the show notes. But it's got my little human character playing Woody, and then Puck the penguin is Buzz.
I love that you
And
chose Puck. That's my favorite.
someone pointed out to me, well, I chose Puck because in Animal Crossing, in the area that you can use to make like videos and photos and stuff, Harv's Island, you can't put villagers in custom outfits because I wanted him to wear a Buzz Lightyear outfit because I was able to put my character in a Woody outfit, but I couldn't put him in a Buzz outfit, and there was no way to get him to wear like the Animal Crossing space outfit helmet. And he wears a hockey helmet by default. And I thought that would work well as Buzz's helmet. And then I was able to get him to wear the space suit that's in the game by default. And then someone pointed out to me later that it was perfect to have Buzz played by a penguin because penguins are flightless birds. They have wings, but they can't fly.
That's great. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
And the part of that video that I'm most proud of is the part with the semi truck because there are no real cars or like a semi truck or anything in Animal Crossing. So I had to improvise, and I used an item that is like a kid's race car bed, and I just dragged it across the screen and put it like above, as close to above and next to Woody's face as I could. And I don't know if it sounds that funny from me describing it, but I think it's really
It's
funny.
hilarious because I have seen this clip. I've seen it multiple times. Oh my gosh, that part is my favorite. the little car just floating in the air.
That'll be in the show notes if you want to check it out.
Yeah, that's everybody needs to check that out. It's great. Go look at it.
Aw, thanks. Well, that's all I have.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have too, because the rest of what I have to say is actually the second part of it, more going towards like when they actually get to Pizza Planet. So I think it's a good
Yeah, in the
place.
next episode we're about to record.
Yes, I think it's a good place to just end this now.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow our Facebook and Twitter accounts and send us an email if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. See you next time.
Good riddance, Loony. Bye.
Bye.